You're listening to the Wedding Biz Network, the voice of the creative entrepreneur. Hey everyone, it's Andy Kushner, host of The Wedding Biz, in which I conduct in-depth and revealing interviews of icons and those who I feel are the next generation icons of the weddings and event industry. And this is all to provide you with inspiration and education. So if you missed my episode last week, it was a revisit of my original interview of the super popular and successful event designer, Mindy Rice. That was a really good one. So if you miss it, check it out. And today's interview is of Jack Ezon, CEO and managing partner of EMBARK Beyond, a luxury lifestyle partnership specializing in bespoke travel experiences. They have the ability to access royal palaces, private homes, luxury yachts, global landmarks, and more. From negotiating hotel, air, and other travel-related components, they act as a full concierge service to develop the perfect itinerary in the world's most sought-after destinations. And this is a really fun interview. Jack is vulnerable and answers everything that I asked and more. So enjoy this conversation with Jack Ezon. Hey, Jack, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. I've known about you and we've kind of known each other for a bit. And so I'm excited to do this.
I'm excited to be here. You're a legend.
A legend in my family's mind.
I don't know.
My mother's.
I find it the opposite. I'm the legend maybe outside, but when I get home, I'm still taking out the garbage.
Right. Exactly. Oh, man. Well, you know where I want to start is on your website, your motto. I love it. I started to read it. I'm like, okay. And then I just started to laugh. It says, anything for a price as long as it is legal and ethical. We rarely fail to deliver the impossible. I love that. I love that. When you say as long as it's legal and ethical, what are you referring to?
Well, we don't want to do anything illegal, and we've been asked to do some things that are illegal.
Oh, have you?
We're asked to do the craziest thing. And we're really, one of our philosophies is the solution is created before the problem. You just need to find it.
Ooh, I like that.
So when someone asks for the impossible, our focus is on the solution, how to get that. But yes, we've had some very colorful requests that are not legal. Actually, I found that some requests are legal in certain countries, especially getting escorts.
Oh, come on. You've been asked by a customer to get you escorts?
More than once, but they're legal in Switzerland, not in France.
Oh, man, that's funny.
You told me you wanted to talk about something controversial.
Yeah, let's go there.
It was a little insane. By the way, if anyone's ever in Switzerland, they even have websites where you can pick the person you want. Oh, no.
My gosh.
But yeah, anything legal for a price. We didn't do drugs, but now we'll do marijuana in certain countries or states. But we don't do any of that. But we've been asked for it.
That's great. That's fine. Well, where did you get this passion for travel? I mean, when you grew up, did your family of origin, did they travel a lot? Like, where did this come from for you?
I didn't grow up with a lot of money, as pretentious as it may seem right now. But I didn't grow up with a lot of money. I always dreamed of it. Actually, my father was well off, and then he got very sick. And so we didn't grow up with a lot of money, but we lived in a wealthy community. So I got to understand how wealthy people think. You get that aspiration being around people. And I just always had this wanderlust. My parents loved to travel, though we didn't travel a lot. Our luxury vacation was a Winnebago, staying at a Motel 6. Yeah. But always dreamed of visiting hotels. And I always went into like the Ritz-Carlton lobby to dream where I could be one day. My grandmother took me, my sister, and two of my cousins on a European escapade. One of those, if it's Tuesday, it must be Belgium, TWA bus tours. And I was a sophomore in high school. And I mean, I was totally smitten. I remember it to this day, every place we went. And I just knew that I wanted to somehow be engaged in travel. I just didn't know how.
Well, and yet, didn't you start as an attorney? Isn't that what your first career was?
Yeah. Now imagine, you have parents that want to see their son become a lot more ambitious, and they, you tell them they want to be a travel agent, and they're like, laugh at you. You can't be a travel agent. What are you going to work for, like AAA for making like $30,000 a year? You can't live on that. We're sending you to college. We're spending all our money at NYU for you to go to business school and be something, at least be a lawyer. My dad was a lawyer. And so I became a lawyer. I hated it.
What kind of a lawyer? What did you do? What kind of lawyer?
I did commercial finance. So lending, commercial finance, this thing called securitizations, which ultimately led to the 2008 debacle. I didn't really have that
Oh,
much to do with it, but
yeah.
that's what we did. I actually did very well in it. My friend and I published 6 books all about how to interpret some of these laws, lending, bankruptcy. We got some royalties for a nice little while on those too, before books became obsolete.
So why then did you leave that career? I mean, I know that you became the president of a very large and successful luxury travel company, Ovation. How did that transition go?
So I was a lawyer. As I was practicing law, I was the late 90s. We were making a lot. I was making a lot of money day trading, like every other person, like the garbage man, even and the shoe man. It was a dot-com boom, and I had some more financial freedom. I mean, literally took a couple, like $10,000, and eventually it was a couple of million. And I was very comfortable. I was like 23, and
Jeez, wow.
don't get too excited. I didn't get to keep it.
Oh, really?
Uh, but it was like 99. I had an idea to build this website that consolidated airline wholesalers to deliver wholesale airfare for consumers. I met the owner of what was then Focusrite, Philip Wolf. He really helped mentor me and guide us how to do a dog and pony show. We got funded almost $40 million from a company in Germany. And I thought I was going to be the next kid on the cover of the Wall Street Journal, the next 20-something-year-old billionaire who came up with a new .com.
Right.
Well, that was awesome. So it was a great way to retire from the law, and I did. We started our new site called travelworks.com, and it was with one other partner. And about 6 months later, I don't even think it was 6 months, the entire .com bubble burst. So all that $3 million or $4 million I had, thank God I didn't have options. It all went away.
Oh, geez. Wow.
And the company that was funding us, their stock literally went from almost $60 to 60 cents, like
Oh,
overnight.
wow.
So we were out of business. It wasn't the funding wasn't going to continue. And I had to hit myself out. And so I did consulting.
But wait, can I stop for a minute, Jack? Can I ask you?
Sure.
So when this happened, I mean, you make all that money at such a young age. You work so hard, you do that, you lose it all like that. How did you just personally deal with that?
It's a great question. And either I was a little stupid and young. I was depressed, of course, for a little bit. But when the whole world is in the same situation and all of your friends are in the same situation, just like during COVID,
Right, COVID.
you
right.
don't take it personally. You can't feel like I failed. It's like, oh my God, I'm in this crazy world. Just like during COVID, you didn't fail because you lost all your business. The whole world shut down.
Yeah, this is one moment where we had nothing to do with it. Right.
Right. And so you're, at least me, my thought was, now what am I going to do? Not, oh my God, what did I do with myself? I could have gone back to be a lawyer. It's like, no way am I going back. I want to figure out how to be in this business. And so I sold myself out to be a consultant because I had really deep dive into internet travel. And I got a job as a consultant for what was a corporate agency called Lawyers Travel Service. And they wanted me to help launch their last minute luxury travel website. And so August 2000 was my first day on the job. I went to this amazing event called Virtuoso Travel Mart at the time. And it was a meeting with all the top luxury hotels in the world and all the top travel agencies in the world. And that was my first day on the job, 3,000 people. And it was the most exciting week of my life. Every hotel I ever dreamed of, I got to put a personality to and have a conversation. And I was a big dreamer of luxury hotels. I'd go through the FH&R book, the Amex book, the leading hotels book of all the places one day I want to go to. And here all these people are in my face having conversations with me. And I was 24. I was there was probably about a 25-year age gap between me and the next youngest person in the room on the travel agent side. But all the hoteliers were in their 30s and 20s. And so I was an anomaly. I got to build relationships really quickly with people on a personal basis. And I was telling a story that was different than everyone back then because it was about internet play, which people were still like, I don't think the Ritz Paris is the right hotel to be on the internet.
Right, right.
Like, imagine 21
Yeah.
years ago. And I really had a very quick, accelerated trajectory into the luxury travel world. And by mistake, people heard I was doing this. Remember, I came from a wealthy community, even though I wasn't wealthy. And they started calling me. I hear you have some great deals at Sandy Lane or, the Ocean Club. And it was relationships that I started building that got me what I got. And it kind of almost happened by mistake. I don't even know how to issue an airline ticket. I was building a website and I was in the internet space. And one thing led to another. And I found myself with a multi-million-dollar business.
Now I'm a little confused. This is not Ovation, or you were a partner in Ovation?
It wasn't Ovation at the time. It was Lawyers Travel Service. Then I left that. Then 9/11 came a year and a half later, right?
Right.
Game over.
Again, yeah.
There was another company called Pro Travel that was looking to build another website. It was called Distinctive Honeymoons. They wanted to build a honeymoon registry and travel site. So they called me to build this for them. Again, don't forget, I'm the internet guy, right? I'm not just the travel agent.
Right.
And my business continued to grow. The company that was Lawyers Travel Service that had that wanderlust business evolved into Ovation when they brought in another partner, and they wanted me to start their leisure division. And I said to them, why would I want to come from where I am at Pro Travel? I have a great position. I have equity in my little internet. I had profit share, not equity in the internet space. Why would I come? And they said, well, we'll give you ownership and profit share in this business, and you'll run this business and you'll build it with us. And I said, well, I'm not getting that here, so I'll build it. And so I went to a place that had nothing to do with leisure. It was purely corporate, and people thought I was crazy. But we eventually built that business into almost a $400 million business.
My God. So why then? I mean, my understanding is that you were there for 15 years, something like that, and you ended up leaving it to start another company. Is that right? To start EMBARK?
Eventually, if you know anybody who knows me, I like to really stay relevant. I don't like the word pivot because I think it's more of an evolution, but I'm a little bit more of a maverick. I'm not a corporate guy. Our company was getting very corporate. It was getting very big. It ultimately sold to American Express during the pandemic. And I had a vision for a new model that I thought was very important. It was structured more like a law firm. We were losing talent because millennials need a career path. They need to feel like there's a way for them to own this company.
That's right. Or they leave.
Yeah. And we were suffering from retention of talent because it's like, I don't need to work for you. I want to work for me. Like, in day one. So I felt there was a clear need to change the model, and we couldn't make it work within our company because the owners didn't want to do that. And that's fine. And I left really to build this model that I really believed in. I left a year before COVID. So March 2019, we made a great money in 2019 as a startup. And then the world shut down.
Well, and I want to come back to that in a little bit, how COVID affected and what you're doing. But before we do that, I know that in an interview, I believe it was with Luxury Travel Advisor, you stated that one of EMBARK's core standards is to continuously innovate, to stay relevant by embracing new ideas and taking measured risk. What kind of risks? What are you talking about when you say that?
Whenever you do something new that's unknown, there's always risk of failure. I'm not afraid of failure. One of our philosophies is prepare to fail and plan to win. Some people are so afraid of failure, they don't get out of their comfort zone. They never grow. They never reach their potential. You need to fail to reach your potential and to grow and to accelerate. You need to fail to learn, and you need to expect to fail along the way. If you fear it, you will never grow beyond where you are. And so when I say measured risk, I'm not going to put $1 million on the line without, anything behind it. We want to take a measured risk. We want to make sure this new initiative we're taking, has legs, but it also, what is the risk of the downside if it doesn't work? And so you have to do it in a very grassroots, creative way.
It's interesting the way you talk about, basically you're embracing failure, I'm going to say. And, I talk about this on the show a lot. There's this book by Ryan Holiday called The Obstacle is the Way, talking about how, anybody, but in the book especially gives example of these high-end executives who I think part of what they're made of is exactly what you're talking about. Is like, I mean, I don't like to call it failure, Jack. To me, I think you're essentially saying that it gets you to a better place. And so the issue is having that perspective to embrace it, right? To not be knocked off your ass and not be able to get up again, but rather to say, hey, this is what it takes to get to the next step, right? I mean, it's a challenge.
That's exactly right. And in fact, we have something called lineup every day. It's a way a hotel operates, but we operate more like a luxury hotel. And on lineup, we are very committed every day to talking about our failures. We do wins and fails. And it was very hard at the beginning to get people to talk about their failures. There were literally tears, like, you're embarrassing me. But after a while, and especially when the leaders like me come to the table with our failures, people appreciate failures as opportunities to grow. And failure may be a strong word to use, but go strong, because embrace those mistakes as opportunities to grow. In fact, Four Seasons doesn't even call it a mistake. They don't call it a failure. They call it a glitch. And the person that it happens to, they call an opportunity client. And we totally steal that from them. When there's a problem, there's an opportunity to embrace that client more closely and to engage them on a level more than you would someone that didn't have a mistake. And those, if you recover right, become your greatest advocates.
Right. So not a client, but for yourself in your business, what is an example of a really big failure, obstacle, glitch, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, you're really putting me in the hot seat now.
Oh, yeah. Let's have some fun here. Can you think of one off the top of your head?
Okay. And, a lot of times these failures make us change our operating procedures. So we were doing a cruise for a client going to South America. It was starting in Argentina, Buenos Aires, going down to Uruguay, then going to Brazil. We had sent them all their documents, sent them an email stating that they needed to get their visa for Brazil and Argentina and what to do, where to go, la, la, la. And everything was great. Client's excited. We did so much for this trip. I get a call Sunday morning, randomly. I think I'm in Target or something, and client's freaking out, screaming, they won't let me on the ship. I'm like, why not? I don't have my visa. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have your visa? You didn't get your visa? What? I called the advisor, and the advisor's like, that can't be. I remember the client told me they had their visa when I asked them. I'm like, this is crazy. And one of the things we say is we don't place blame. We focus on solutions, not blame. But we look at that problem to fix it for later.
Yeah, right.
So our win there was we were literally, it's all the power of relationships. And our mission is leverage relationships to build connections. We literally were able to get him to get on that ship, get an appointment in Uruguay with the U.S. Embassy. First meeting in the morning. It was closed. Don't forget, it was a Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So we got them to open early Monday morning and get him in Uruguay to get his Brazilian visa. I'm sorry, it was the Brazilian embassy. It wasn't the American embassy. In Uruguay to get a Brazilian visa to continue his trip.
Jeez.
And then we look back and I'm like, I don't understand. I'm looking back at this email. I sent it to the client in a very respectful way. I'm very confused what happened here because I see this email where our advisor asked you if you got your visa and you said yes. I didn't tell him he was wrong. To which he replied, yes, I thought they were talking about my Argentinian visa, which only, you go online and get it. Yeah. So, you know what? You may say that doesn't sound like a failure, but it's a failure because we can't assume anything. And if there are 2 visas you have to get, and if you say you got them, our new standard operating procedure is show me.
Show me, right?
I want to see a picture of it. I want it.
So you learn something from it.
Literally, we keep it. We have it on file. It's in our database. And if there's a problem, we know that it's done. Check. And so there's an example of what I call a failure. You may not. It was uncomfortable. And we grow from that.
I want to be sure you know the wonderful news of our latest show, Stop and Smell the Roses, with acclaimed lifestyle and event design expert Preston Bailey. Not only will he share the secrets, tools, and technologies behind his extraordinary ability to create a theatrical environment out of any space, you will also discover more about the man behind the magic. Preston will reveal how his focus on personal growth has been the root of his professional success, and you'll have the opportunity for him to answer your questions along the way. Plus, Preston will be inviting onto the show many of the star celebrities he has worked with in the past, so you don't want to miss a single episode. We also have another great show on the Wedding Biz Network, The Business of Being Creative with host Sean Lowe. Since debuting, his show has really taken off, and he's continuing to bring you the creative business advice he's shared with accomplished industry notables. Be sure to take advantage of Sean's talkback opportunity by recording questions and comments from right there in each episode's show notes. So, if you are a creative who is turning your craft into a business or want to take it to another level, head to theweddingbiznetwork.com and take a listen to Stop and Smell the Roses with Preston Bailey and The Business of Being Creative with Sean Lowe. That's theweddingbiznetwork.com. On your website, I think it is, you say everything in our industry is about creating emotionally satisfying experiences for our clients. You know, how does that translate? I mean, I can assume, but I'd like to hear from you. How does that translate with travel clients? I mean, I kind of assume that's what it's all about for you.
Yes. So again, we have 12 standards with our philosophy, and standard number 1 is transcend the transaction. Standard number 2 is loyalty is won from the heart, not the pocket. You can't get with loyalty by manipulation with prices and discounts. That's short-term gain. Loyalty is one from the heart. It's how I feel. So we have a whole program called the Emotional Impact Program. And our job is to have what we call an EI factor, emotional impact factor, on every trip. And we actually have a fund. We take a piece of the profit from every trip. We put it in this fund, and anyone can use up to $2,000 without a question. They can use more if they need to create an emotional impact experience or moment, at least one.
Yeah.
Some of them cost $1. Some of them cost $5,000. It doesn't matter. It has to be meaningful. It can't be a bottle of wine or food in the room. That doesn't mean anything.
That's an interesting point. Right. I mean, it's nice, but you're talking about at a deeper level.
Correct. And so it's about getting to know your customer and trying to find something that will resonate and mean a lot to them. And so I'll give you some examples. One, we were talking to a client and we just booked a $200,000 villa for him and all of his children, grandchildren, even great-grandchildren. And he was so excited. But one thing he said is, I don't know how I'm going to sleep with the kids all over, waking up in the morning. And all we did was send him $2 earplugs that we wrapped up in a beautiful box and a beautiful ribbon and sent it to him on a silver tray. And that touched him. He's like, holy cow, you heard me, right? Another person, him and his friends travel all the time, and he jokes that he's Luigi Primo because he loves to drive the car and be the chauffeur. They don't like to get a chauffeur. And we delivered a beautiful hat that said Luigi Primo on it. Something as simple as that goes a long way. And then there's also another thing that we did once. We had a family who was coming to New York. They wanted to stay at the Plaza Hotel. The son sadly had cancer, and his favorite movie was Home Alone. They were going to New York to let him relive Home Alone 2. And so we decided to really take this to another level. We had a white limo pick him up, and it was hard to find a 1980s style white limo because they don't do limos anymore. We had it stocked with pizza boxes and Cokes. I don't know if you remember the movie.
I don't, but I loved it. I don't remember that detail. And
so it had Macaulay Culkin driving in around New York City with his boxes of pizza.
Oh, wow.
And so picks him up at the Plaza Hotel.
This is great. Yeah.
Champagne glasses of Coke. Boxes of our favorite pizza. And we really tried to recreate that moment for him coming out of the plaza. We upgraded him actually to the exact suite that they filmed the movie in.
That's crazy.
And, the parents, we had a little note, New York's ready for you to rock the city like Kevin only wished he could.
Oh.
And, the parents just called us in tears saying, you really made an incredible moment in our life. We don't know how long our son's going to live. Thank God he's still alive. And this was maybe 5-6 years ago. But you really gave us such joy in a really hard time in our life. Mm. And I'm crying as I'm telling you the story. So
yeah,
there's so many things like that we do. Some are more touching and some are more humorous than others. I mean, I'll end with one more. There was one couple that was going away and she's like, I just need somewhere where there's nowhere for my husband to go because he's always on the run. He always talks to other people. I need his attention.
Yeah.
And all we did was send to them a really cool child leash. It's like a dog leash, a child leash. It had the guy's name on it.
Right.
And it was like, here's a little something to make sure that your husband doesn't get away from you.
That's
You know?
great.
So that's emotional impact.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was going to ask how you figure these things out, but I realize it's just you're just listening intently to everything people say. Right? It's really that. It's just really paying attention and picking up on these things.
And that is the art.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the art of listening.
Right.
If you really want to build loyalty, it's really about connecting to your customer on a deeper level and understand what's meaningful to them and translating that into value, because people will pay anything for what's valuable to them. And they'll come back to people that know and understand them. So again, our approach is specializing in the client and knowing the world.
I did see in another interview too that I see where this is coming up. You had said that if you can find out what people value, you can sell them anything.
True, right? Because price is what you pay, value is what you get.
Is what you get, right?
People could be billionaires or they could be poor, but they will pay for what's important to them.
Wow. So what is maybe one or two of the most just outrageous trips that you plan? I don't mean necessarily most expensive or anything like that, but just really unique that really speaks to a customer's, what moves them emotionally. You've given a couple examples of these pieces of it, but what about a trip overall, where you're really meeting all that?
We did a beautiful multi-generational experience for a family whose father was very involved in sustainability. And he wanted to really show his grandchildren what it all meant. And so, it sounds obvious, but we did a trip to South Africa. But what we folded in there were a lot of personal experiences, meeting people and going on some of the projects that he had launched or helped fund, and creating a documentary of this trip with the family to keep.
Wow.
And to really explain what that legacy is on a deep and emotional level. So hopefully they value and continue that legacy for, generations after he's gone. Again, I wouldn't say it's wild and crazy, but that was very meaningful. We've done things like chartered a mega yacht and islands for them to all go party on along the way for a week. Every day they have their own private little island, and caviar floating in the water and different DJs set up looking like different clubs in Europe. So it goes from like flashy and frivolous to intimate and meaningful. And a lot of it is, again, listening to what the customer is looking for, what's the feeling. And that same customer might do both at different times with different people.
Yeah. At this point in your career, God, Jack, the story you've told so far, you've been through so much, you've built so much. What is the most stressful part? Like, what is it that you're working on, now in terms of self-improvement, or the hardest part of what you do with your business? What do you have to struggle with at this point?
The most stressful part has nothing to do with money. The most stressful part has to do with reputation. I'm constantly paranoid about having a sterling reputation and doing the right thing. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what the right thing is. And the other time is making sure that everything is so perfect and buttoned up, because I don't want to compromise my reputation anywhere. And that is, to me, that's what keeps me up at night. And that's what stresses me out. Because to me, if something could be solved with money, I got off scot-free. Trust me, nobody wants to give out money, but if it can be solved with money, awesome. Nobody wants to compromise that reputation because you only have one.
So it's protecting your brand, basically.
Personally and professionally.
What about COVID? Talk about the ultimate challenge. Here we are. We're recording this, and I'm going to be releasing it soon. It's the end of August, 2021. We thought that it was ending, and now we don't know what's going to happen now with the Delta variant. We're not sure. I'm thinking positively, but we just don't know. And you're in the travel business. How are you dealing with this now?
Travel, and we do a lot of events. We got double whammy.
Right.
Here's the situation, Andy. There's no doubt for all of us, COVID was the hardest year of my life. It was the hardest year professionally. It was challenging personally, of course, because we had to all adjust, but it was also the most rewarding year of my life. David Stark told me something really interesting. He shared an insight that the greatest art is made in crisis. And if you think about that, it's really true. And it inspired me to not waste this crisis.
Wait, say that again. What did he say?
David Stark shared with me that the greatest art is made in crisis.
Oh, made in crisis. Yes, got it.
And so I just had this epiphany. I am not going to waste this crisis. We're a 1-year-old company. And as far as I'm concerned, the world has been put on hold. It's been put on pause so that we can accelerate and come out of this much stronger than we came in. And so that's what we did. I took everyone that was on our team and we paid everyone on a project basis to get my dream vision done, to put things up, to get all those resources together, to build an online booking tool, to create tools to help us scale and grow so smart. And that's what I did. And that's what we did, I should say, because it wasn't it was a team effort. No one worked harder. And what we have now is such a unique proposition. We've grown 400 to 500% month over month from 2019, not 2020. We came into this with 16 people. We're over 130 right now. We just opened up our first franchise in Brazil this week. We have so many opportunities coming to us in so many different areas. In 1 year, it's as if we're a 5-year-old company. And it's forced us to think different. It's forced us to innovate daily, allowed us to play with opportunities we never would have. Some of them are extremely profitable and have nothing to do with travel. I mean, one of our most profitable is our dual passport program. We saw a need for people to want to have another passport because they weren't able to use their American passport last year to get many places. We had over 3,000 applicants now that are live applicants for us to help them with dual passports to the European Union by their descent.
Incredible. Yeah, that's incredible. Just a couple more questions. What is your favorite destination personally?
It's actually quite easy. Number one is Africa. It's South Africa, Southern Africa, but as a country, it's South Africa. It's just, to me, the holiest place in the world to see really the circle of life in the bush on safari. But outside of that, as a country, it's breathtaking. It's beautiful. The people there are magnificent in every way. I know Colin Cowie's from there, so
I was just thinking that
if he's listening, there's a soft spot. But It's just such a beautiful place. But just truly, if anyone hasn't gone on safari, it's worth every bit of investment to really see the finger of nature, the finger of God, and the perfection that we have in this world. It's incredible.
So what are you looking forward to next? What's on your radar that you're excited about?
I am excited about continuing to open the world and show it to people. I'm excited about helping people celebrate every joy in life and leaving their homes in a comfortable way. I'm excited about getting people back into their comfort zones and leaving their routine, but to feel like they have freedom enough to explore themselves and to connect themselves to the people they love, the places they go, and most of all, to who they really are inside. So many of us have gotten sidetracked to that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, travel for me it's deeply inspiring. I mean, I get these epiphanies on many of my trips, and it really is, it's just a deeply emotionally impactful event to just get out of your comfort zone and go somewhere else.
Yeah, and Andy, that's exactly it. It's very hard to have epiphanies when you're in a routine.
It is. Well, geez, Jack, this has been really cool talking to you about all of this, and I appreciate how direct you are. You're so vulnerable, and I appreciate that. This has been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, Andy. It's a privilege, and I'm so excited to be on the show.
Thank you for listening to my conversation with Jack Ezon. Check out his website, which is EMBARK Beyond, and on social media, Instagram, it is EMBARK Beyond. On Facebook, it is EMBARK Beyond Travel. You can get all of this in the show notes at our website of theweddingbiz.com. And if you could think of 3 good friends who you feel would benefit and enjoy this interview, please forward this to them and review it and give top ratings because it helps people find us as well. And I want to mention next week, I'm going to be taking off for the Labor Day holiday. However, I will return the week after with an amazing interview of Colin Cowie about his soon-to-be-released new book, The Gold Standard. So be sure to follow us on Instagram in particular, at The Wedding Biz. Check out the website of theweddingbiz.com. There's an enormous amount of interviews in the past 4 years, a big back catalog, a lot of amazing conversations, and we'll catch you next time on The Wedding Biz.